What's up, beautiful people? Hello, hello, hello. Come on in the room. Make sure you tag your friends, tag your people. It is I who will be leading tonight's conversation. Yes. And I'm super excited because I have a special guest. But again, I'll allow you all some time to get in. As you know, we're talking about this week being eager to change. Yes, so with that being said, I hope you all are continuing to do things that's gonna, get you closer to your goals. So that's, showing up for the lives, doing the extra credit if you're there yet, eating your meals, drinking your water, all the great things. So we want to make sure that we are doing those things that we know is gonna help us evolve, it's gonna help us grow, it's gonna help us, become the best version of ourselves. But we have to put in the work. Shout out to any and everyone that's from the PD area, Darlington County. But I went to Mayo High School for Math, Science, and Technology, and our mantra, our motto was hard work pays off. We said, our principal said that every single morning, hard work pays off. And she's absolutely right. And still to this day, I repeat that over and over and over and over. Like whenever I'm having a challenging time or a hard time, I think about that saying, hard work pays off. So yes, baby, it's hard. It is hard. But I also know that it's worth it. So I want you all to have that same thought process when you are going through the circus. I saw a post earlier today where someone was kind of like, when she started her around week 3, she realized like the newness started to wear off for her. The workouts got hard. Things got challenging for her, but she decided to have a mantra for herself of just, keep going, I think it was. But she was like, when the weights get heavy, just keep going. When, the circuits get a little harder, just keep going. When you don't feel like doing it, keep going. So find that phrase that you need to repeat to yourself each and every day or each and every time you're put up, against an obstacle. You need that. You need that. I know it's like, oh, they're just words. No, baby, words are powerful. What we speak is powerful. So make sure you're speaking things that's going to help you stay going. Because that's how we grow. That's how we get better. But I'm going to allow maybe 20 more seconds. And then we're going to go ahead and get into tonight's conversation. I'm super excited for our guest that we're going to have tonight. I have some good questions for him. And I think it's super important to talk about what we're going to talk about tonight as it relates to just making sure we're taking care of our bodies while we are making the change to get better. So, all right, we're at our 3-minute mark. So again, if you are just coming in and first time seeing me, I am Coach Alicia, and I am honored to talk to you all tonight. So make sure you tag your friends if you haven't already. But I'm going to jump right into it, and I'm going to have my guest come on, and we are going to introduce Mr. Chris. What's up? How are you today?
I'm wonderful, Coach. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. So, y'all, I'm super excited to have Chris here to talk to us. And I'm just going to let you introduce yourself, let them know how long you've been a member of EM, and also, what you do.
Thanks so much, Coach. I've been a member with my wife since August of 2022. Michelle Dalton's my wife. She got me to join with her, getting ready for our wedding, kind of, dialing some stuff in. We've always been into fitness, but E2M kind of help us get to that next level and be our best selves for our wedding. I'm a practicing massage therapist in Charlotte, North Carolina now. I've been a therapist for 8 years, and I kind of specialize in working with active and athletes.
I love
Yeah,
that.
that's me.
Yeah, and just a little sidebar. So Michelle, his wife, was actually my supervisor when I was doing my internship for occupational therapy. So shout out to Michelle. So we're just gonna jump right into it. Why would a member of E2M would need to incorporate massage therapy? What's the benefit of it?
Well, I think there's 3 main things for all of our health and wellness we should focus on. E2M does an amazing job with the nutrition and the movement part that I think of, but the rest and recovery piece is really a giant third pillar that massage plays a giant role in. So all that hard work we're doing with the circuits and all the movement we're doing, our body's going to get beat up from doing that. And the more intensity, the more we put in, the more recovery and rest we're going to need, just like our nutrition. So I think as massage is one of the best ways you can take some time for yourself, get that extra work you need, get yourself feeling your best, and then you get your best workouts in. You get to have that chance to be your best self. So really, there's just not a thing that in your life that's not going to add a little bit of stress, whether that's movement or personal stress, and massage can help with all that stuff.
No, absolutely. So I know for me personally, I try to get a massage at least once a month. But what is that? I guess how often should you go, or does it depend on how much you do? Because sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish I could do this every week, but just my schedule doesn't allow it. And of course, it's a little pricey. But how
Yes.
often, or how do you dictate how often you should go to the therapist?
Well, the rule of thumb I always like, kind of a bit of a joke but serious, is the first day you wake up and you go, man, I wish I had a massage today. That's one day longer than you should have went to get your last massage. Unfortunately, massages aren't free. We don't have unlimited time. So I find every 2 to 4 weeks to be best. The difference for my body, if I do 3 weeks versus 4, is giant. Like I just can see a huge difference. 2 to 3 is nice, but that 3 to 4 for me is always going to be the best. And then on top of the how often, the duration of your massage is really going to make a difference as well. If you're new to massage, an hour sounds like a really long time to be on the table for treatment. The more massage you get and the more stuff you need, 90 minutes is actually the sweet spot I have found, both for me as the client on the table and as the therapist working. So I can really give you all the work you need and hit the entire body. If I'm doing an hour massage, I usually get more focused work. It'd be like my back, neck, and hips. And that can take a whole hour for me by the time I get on the table for my therapist.
I'm glad you mentioned the focus work because sometimes I will have okay, like I'm like, oh, I'm super tight in my shoulder area, but then it's like I also want you to, get my legs too, but it's like, but I want you to, do more of my upper body, but don't forget my lower body. And sometimes I have. Not my massage therapist now, but I have gone to a place where I'm telling them like my neck, and it's like, oh, it feels so good. But then like, okay, we're done with that. Now to the legs. Does it make sense for you to tell them to not to do full body? I know you say you're doing focus work. Is it that when you do go get your massages, you need to get full body with maybe, more focus on one thing than the other? Or can you just go like, I just need my upper body, that's it?
100% you should be talking to your therapist. They should be asking you and get the focus work you need. If you need only upper body today because your legs feel good, that's fine. Like I said, when I get my kind of more focus work, I skip a lot of the hamstring, quad, calf work because I can do a lot of self-care. I have a Theragun, I ice, I use heat, I can stretch. And so I'm trying to maximize my time on the table for those spots I can't get. And again, for me, those are my back, neck, and my hips. Just that posterior chain can be real tricky to work on for yourself. Foam rolling's great and all of those things, but a nice, well-placed elbow or thumb really, for me, unlocks some of that stuff I need unlocked back there on that posterior chain. But always tell your therapist what you want, what you need, and communicate with them. It should always be a collaborative effort between you and your therapist. That way you both know what you want, and then they both can work towards getting that for you every time you're on the table.
Makes sense, yeah. So how would someone find a therapist? Like I know you're in Charlotte, North Carolina, but we have so many members all over the world, right? How would they go about finding a therapist?
This might be one of the harder things to figure out when you're first getting into massage. It's kind of how I think about with coaching or any sort of athletics. Not every coach is for every single athlete or every single person's fitness goals. So I have found, like with E2M, the referrals and telling your friends like, hey, I found this therapist, I found this place, they do really good work, and kind of working through your peer group to see if they have someone that's good. Any sort of, obviously, making sure someone's licensed, making sure they work at a reputable established location is going to be super important at the ground level. And then you just have to find the right person for you. And the tricky part of that is too, you might not always need the same thing every single day. When I'm going to go look at an E2M workout, it might be a good day to have Coach Mandy, Coach Brad, whichever coach. That way I'm getting what I need that day, and it's going to be different every single day.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And I know we already talked about how often I had that down too. But to your point of you saying communicate with your therapist, what would you recommend for somebody who may, still be a little shy to it and don't know the proper way of how to explain what's hurting? They may not know all the proper terms. So what advice would you give someone who's new to it? Like, but I wanted to tell them this, but I don't know how to explain it, or I don't want them to not exercise this just because that's hurting. Like, what terminology or what advice would you give somebody who just needs help communicating that to their therapist?
Well, I think this is actually a great way to find if you're finding a great therapist, because the therapist should make you feel comfortable to ask those questions, make it so you don't feel like if you don't say the right word or the right exact location, you don't feel bad about that. And then if you come in and as an example to say, oh, my lower back's always killing me, just work on my lower back. Well, I'm going to first tell you how much your hips and your glutes are attached to your lower back. And your therapist should never force you to get that hip and glute work if you don't want it, but they should really be helping educate you as to the why. If your upper back's bothering you, it might actually be your front delts and your pectorals that are tight. It's bringing you into this forward posture. And so we have to work your shoulders and your pecs to open up your back and your neck. So you don't have to know all of that. You just get to go into the room and point and say, it doesn't feel good here. And the therapist should be the one that explains to you what you're going to do, what that looks like, and make a plan for you on this visit and your future visits as well to get you feeling your best.
Right. No, absolutely. If they can't tell you that, you might need to go ahead and skedaddle and get up out of there.
Absolutely.
Not the one for me. Yes. So I know sometimes, when you get a massage, it's a little different if you want to like a spa resort type of massage versus, sports, working more so with athletes. What kind of massages should someone get? Or how do they know? Like, oh, do you want the deep tissue? Do you want the Swedish? Like, I don't know. I just need you to rub up on me.
Yeah.
So how do you know what type of massage to get?
Well, first and foremost, I personally think there's a love of deep tissue that is a little overdone in the world of athletics and everything else, which is you don't feel terrible when you're on the table getting beat up, then it wasn't enough pressure. It wasn't enough. And that's actually not true for most people. If you get on the table and you need deep tissue, that should be a tool in the toolbox for your therapist. But when I was a new therapist, I'll tell a story. I used to be that person that thought I had to get beat up for the whole hour and just be like, oh, this is rough. And then after about 6 months, I was like, I think I hate going to see my massage therapist now because it was brutal, and there's a place for that kind of massage. But for most of us, we actually want to feel better is the goal, not feel better in a week when all the bruising and all that stuff has gone down from a really deep massage. So I think a nice medium to firm for most people that are active and working out is actually going to have more benefits for them on a day-to-day. And again, there's going to be a time when you have a soft tissue injury or something where that deep tissue is the right thing to go with, but it's not every single time you should be leaving going, whew, man, my therapist got me today. I'm so sore. It should feel good. And as far as like more kind of modalities and things, I personally am a giant fan of incorporating stretching, hot stones, or any sort of heat work, and cupping, depending on what you have going on. And again, a lot of the answers around massage are going to be it depends, because as an example, I know some people love cupping on their upper body. I never get a ton of relief in my fascia layer or my muscle from cupping in my back, but my calves and my IT bands is the best thing modality wise for me is that cupping.
Can you deep into it, but can you explain a little bit about what cupping is for those who may not be aware?
Sure. Cupping is sometimes called decompression therapy. So if you think about when you're getting a massage, you're actually getting compressed into the table. Decompression therapy or cupping is going to use a different kind of way depending how you do it, whether it's suction or heat difference, to actually pull up on the tissue with a little tiny either glass or silicone cup. And then you're pulling the top layers of the muscle up and you're breaking up some of those muscle adhesions, helps with blood flow, helps with recovery and all of that. Sometimes you'll see people that get the really deep cupping with those giant red marks on their back and those circles. And that's some of that work being done and some of that tissue being broken up. And that's, by the way, with cupping, completely normal to have some marks. Those aren't bruises. That's just part of the process with cupping. And that's some small capillary breaking in the tissue, but nothing bad. It's great for recovery.
Thank you for that. Also, we have so many people in here to do so many different things. I know you and Michelle, y'all be doing y'all runs and all the great things. So with our marathon runners or just our runners in general, people who are competing, we got our very own Dwayne who's about to, smash his show and do a great job with that. When is the best time to get a massage if you have those big events like the marathons, the shows, physique shows? When is a great time? Do you do it before or even with working out? Is it best to do it before your workouts or your event or after or both?
Well, depending on as far as working out, it's a bit for me. I never feel like going to the gym after I had a good massage. So I always set up my day as a recovery day so I can have a good gym day. Or if I have to work out that day, it's going to be gym get some food, then go get my massage. That way I can fully be relaxed the rest of the day and enjoy that relaxation service and all of the clinical benefits I'm getting from the massage as well. As far as for events, you want to be a little bit careful right up before a race or something like that in particular. I am by no means an expert on the running things of that nature, but you want to be careful that you don't start getting a bunch of different muscles loosened up so that your gait pattern changes or something like that for a runner or a different athletic event. So you'd want to be careful the week before not to go in and get a big deep tissue massage. It loosens up your hips, and then you feel a little bit different when you're running and it's your best performance. You've been training a certain way. The week of is not the week to find out, oh, my hips loosened up different and now it doesn't feel right when I run. So you want to be careful with that. If you're going to get a massage right before, you really want to find a therapist that specializes in pre-event sports massage. And they're going to do a different style of work with you. That way you're feeling looser, but not opening you up the same way you would during a recovery type massage.
No, that's super great information. I know for me personally, yes, I like to typically if I get a massage, it's usually on Thursdays, like after my cardio hit, like you said, because it just makes you feel like okay, time for bed.
Yeah.
So definitely a good recovery. Give me some little tea or whatever. I make it a whole thing. But I know back in 2019 when I did my show, my OCB show, they told me, not to get a massage before my show. So, to your point, it's just, it's different things. You've been training a certain way, you've been posing a certain way, your body's been a certain way, so do that afterwards because you just don't want to change at the last minute. So we're coming to an end to our conversation, but I do want to ask you a question too. What are some things that people can do at home, as far as not necessarily like list the stretches or whatever, but to your point, stretching. I know you mentioned a Theragun. What are some other things that people can, get from the stores that they can use at home if they can't always get to a therapist right now?
Well, I love my Theragun. There's a bunch of different brands on Amazon and stuff. That just happens to be the one that I love. I can't say enough for the E2M yoga. Nicole does a great job. I do that a couple times a week with the wife. It's amazing. I also like any sort of heat or cold therapy. I have a somewhat cheap cold plunge I got from Amazon at my house I've been doing for a few months in the morning, and that really seems to help with the inflammation. Foam rolling is good, and then just general mobility and stretching. So when you're tight, getting out for a walk, a jog, exercise bike, something, get that blood flowing, and then get into those stretches is something I highly recommend.
I have a quick question about the foam roller because some people are always like, "What's these little dots?" Trigger points. Is it better to get one with their trigger points versus without, or what do you?
It's not going to make a big difference either way. Just with the design of them, flat or with the little knobs on it, you're going to get the majority of the work either way. If you find a better benefit with the textured one, go for it. But if the flat one feels best, go for that too. Also, you should incorporate a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball into that same kind of rolling idea because they're like muscle groups in your hips that you just can't get in there with the foam roller. And so the tennis ball or lacrosse ball really make a difference. But that's a lot more intense. So be gentle when you start with that if you do add that into your self-care.
Okay, well, listen, I really appreciate this conversation. Learn a lot, and hopefully you all at home, you're able to, take some notes and make sure you incorporate, get those massages. If you're not able to go to a massage therapist yet, Chris just gave you a bunch of different things that you can get at home that you can try. But Chris, how can they get in touch with you? I know you say you're located in Charlotte, but, go ahead and do that shameless plug. How can we get in touch with you and lay on the table?
I appreciate you. You can get me on Facebook on E2M group. You can find me on there. But also ThalenMassageAndBodyWork.com is my website. Right out of Pineville right now is where my office is at. So you can schedule appointments with me or just message me. We'll figure something out.
I love it. So again, thank you so much for your time. And also you at home, again, make sure you keep going. We are pushing it each and every day. You already know. Tomorrow we have our cardio hit at 8 o'clock a.m. Go ahead and tell a friend to pull up. And then I'll see you guys on Friday morning at 6 o'clock a.m. for our circuit as well. So y'all have a good night. God bless.